This is going to be on that same registry in about 5 years.
Exactly. Hey everybody, welcome back in the shed. I'm Troy. This is Dave.
Hola.
And today we're talking about the top 3 creepy songs. But before we get started, why don't you leave your picks below, see if they match ours. Also make sure to subscribe to the channel. So it is my favorite time of the year, Halloween. I used to love Halloween as a kid. I got dressed up as, Leatherface one time. I got dressed up like Gene Simmons one time. That was fun. And I just love Halloween, and I love creepy songs. So that's what we're talking about today. So what's your number 3 creepy song?
Well, you know, I grew up in a town of Anoka, Minnesota, also known as the Halloween capital of the world.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But every year they would have a parade, and they probably still do it today, down the main street of Anoka, and we'd get dressed up in our Halloween outfits, and we'd march downtown. So yeah, I got a special affinity for Halloween myself.
I loved Halloween. One thing, some kids did, maybe I did, maybe I didn't, was egg cars. Throw eggs at cars as they drove by, or
I plead the fifth.
Or at people's houses that we didn't like. Run from the cops and
right.
try not to get caught.
What else are you going to do in San Saba?
That's right.
All right. My number 3 song is going to be Midnight Rambler by the Rolling Stones.
Did you hear about the Midnight Rambler? Everybody got to go.
Midnight Rambler was released on the Rolling Stones' awesome 1969 album, Let It Bleed. And it really is about Robert DeSalvo, who confessed to being the Boston Strangler who killed 13 women during his reign of terror.
Did you hear about the Midnight Rambler? Well, honey, let's go rock and roll show.
It's one of the Stones' many great songs during that era. I'd have to say their best era, in my opinion, between, Beggar's Banquet in '68 and Exile on Main Street in '72.
Well, you heard about the Boston. It's not one of those.
The Stones, when they played live, they would play this song a lot. Well into the 2000s, 2012, I think they were still doing it. Of course, when they played it, they would extend it out. It's really a jam song. Once they get into it, they would stretch it out 15 minutes or so. It's a great song, and I think it's hard to pick the best songs off Let It Bleed, because that's probably my favorite Stones album, or Sticky Fingers, or Exile. Like I said, those are all just such great albums. But yeah, it was about Robert DeSalvo, and leave it to the Stones to pick a song like that.
Write a song about a serial killer.
Exactly.
My number 3 is Mr. Crowley by Ozzy.
I knew it was coming.
Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head?
It was off his debut solo album, came out in 1981. It was on the album Blizzard of Oz, which every song on there, man, is just freaking badass. And Randy Rhoads is just like a killer guitar player.
That's got a great lead guitar on that
It does,
song.
but what really makes it creepy, well, the song is about
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, the occultist.
Your lifestyle to me seems so tragic. Where's the thrill of it all?
What really makes it creepy is that whole organ intro.
Yeah, exactly.
So that organ solo was performed by Don Airey, which I'm not sure who that is.
I've heard of him.
He was, I think Ozzy or somebody said, hey, come up with some kind of creepy organ intro. They told the Ozzy and everybody else, leave for like an hour. So everybody left for an hour. They came back and he wrote that intro to that song, which is one of the great, really, if you think about it, keyboard organ intros of all time.
We're going to have to do an episode sometime about that. Would be a good topic. Best keyboard intros to a rock song.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best ever, because it is, that organ gives it that creepy vibe.
Oh, totally.
So Guitar World ranked that guitar solo by Randy Rhoads as number 28 of the best guitar solos of all time.
It's an awesome guitar solo.
Yeah.
You know, something else that is strange about Aleister Crowley, I believe this is true, is that Jimmy Page bought his house.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In England? I don't
Of
know.
course.
Yeah, I guess that's where he's from.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, I think Jimmy bought that house.
Probably inspired a lot of songs.
Well, Jimmy was kind of an occultist.
Yeah.
You know, and he kind of got labeled as an occultist. And there's all these stories about Jimmy's love of black magic, and, you know, even Robert Plant's son, Carrick, when he died, some attributed it to that.
Really? I didn't know that.
But I think it's all bullshit. But
yeah.
But Jimmy is definitely into that, you know, dark side.
He dipped his toes in it a
Oh,
little bit.
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's a great song.
So Gibson Guitar put out a reader's poll at some point. I'm not sure when this came out. And that song was ranked at number 23 of the greatest rock songs of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good one, man.
It's a great one. I love Ozzy. First of all, I love Ozzy. I love Black Sabbath.
Really?
And yeah, you would never know, right? That's my number 3. What's your number 2?
All right, my number 2 is going to be the Talking Heads' Psycho Killer.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est? Better.
This signature hit by the Talking Heads came out on their first album. And you know, it only reached number 92 on the Billboard charts,
The album or the song?
the song.
Okay.
But it really became one of their best known songs.
Run, 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 run away. Oh.
You know, the timing of that song came out in 77, which was during the Son of Sam reign of terror in New York City, if you know who Son of Sam is.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the Talking Heads always denied any correlation to that episode in history, but regardless, it was really eerie timing.
I hate people when they're not polite. Psycho killer.
But, you know, it's a great Talking Head song, and I have to say, you know, I think of that song as one of their top 5 songs. But it's been covered many times by the likes of Velvet Revolver.
Can't seem to face up to the facts. I'm tense and nervous and I can't relax.
Fish covered it.
Run, 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 run away. Oh,
And the great English guitarist Richard Thompson covered it.
run, 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 run away.
Along with others. But that's my number 2, Creepy.
Good number 2. My number 2 is The Doors, The End.
Oh, yes.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Oh, man. Actually, that was on my list, too.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a song that was on their debut album that came out in 1967.
Was it their debut?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So Jim Morrison initially wrote the song about I guess, a breakup that he had with his girlfriend at the time. Sort of evolved through many jams and live performances into this 12-minute epic song. And what really makes it creepy is about halfway through the song, Jim Morrison does this sort of
Spoken word
thing.
Oh yeah, Mom, I want. Yeah. I know that. That's really.
That's the creepy
Dad,
part.
I want to kill you. Mom, I want to.
Yeah.
Mother, I want to.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes the song creepy, and the whole vibe of the song is just like really creepy.
All the children are insane.
Of course, that song is famous because how Oliver Stone used it in Apocalypse Now. And it's really one of the most harrowing scenes in that movie. And it was perfect for that scene. And whenever I hear that song, I think of Apocalypse Now.
No safety, no surprise, the end.
This is another song that Rolling Stone ranked in the top 500 greatest songs of all time, and it is at 336.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the Doors probably had, a dozen of them in there. But I got to say, that is the Doors' most unique song of all time.
Yeah. It's definitely not a single.
It's not a crooning song by, Jim, and it's not L.A. Woman. But, it's out there, man. I mean, totally out there. And at the time when the Doors did that, they're contemporaries of the Beatles and a lot of people that were doing some really unique stuff. But, man, the Doors stood out on that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially those lyrics, man. It was one of those that, Jim got in some trouble with the law for doing some naughty things.
Yeah, because he was doing a lot of acid, and I think he was a little messed up in the head sometimes.
He was drinking a lot too, but he got arrested in Miami, all this kind of stuff. But that song, to me, is the most unique Doors song ever. Well, my number one is The Police, Every Breath You Take. Now, this one might have a lot of people shaking their heads going, what the hell are you talking about?
I understand. It's a stalker song.
It's totally. That song came out on the 1983 album, Synchronicity.
That whole album has a creepy vibe to it anyway.
Well, yeah. It has, Murder by Numbers and some other songs like that. But that song was the number one selling song of 1983, and it was one of the top 5 selling songs of the 80s.
Yeah. I remember at the end of the 80s, the end of the 80s, the decade of the 80s, that album was ranked the number one album of the 80s.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I bought it when it came out. I actually saw them in 1984, early 84, when they're on tour. I saw them at the end of the tour, actually, in Greensboro, North Carolina. And it's one of the 10 best concerts I ever saw, to be honest. It was fucking awesome.
Can't you see you belong to me? I'm a poor heart.
But what's so funny about the song is that it was so misinterpreted by so many people.
Yeah.
It was probably played at thousands of weddings.
Yeah. People thought it was a love song.
They thought it was a love song, but it, like you said, it's totally a stalking song.
Yeah.
But there you go. Sting, you're the man. But
Oh, can't you see you belong to me?
I was 12 years old when that album came out, and my uncle, lived in Austin, and he worked at a record store at the time. And we didn't see him very often, but when he would come to town, come to San Saba for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, I remember he brought me Duran Duran, whatever album that came out at that time, I can't remember.
Hungry Like the Wolf.
Yeah,
or
I think that's
something
what
like
it
that.
was. And one other one, and he brought Police Synchronicity.
Yeah.
And I listened to that over and over and over, because it had, and like I said, it had the tone of the album. It was a little bit creepy in a way.
Yeah, a little
you
darker, but, you know, it
I
had-
always like that song. There's a little black spot on the sun today.
It's a great album. I
Yeah.
mean, I've got it on vinyl. I've got it on CD because I had to have it twice. But what's also kind of cool about that song is that Sting was influenced by Led Zeppelin's that song Jamaica that we talked
Really?
about.
Yeah.
Because there's a line in the song, every breath I take, ooh, 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 every move I make, ooh, you know,
Yeah.
kind of like that. So he kind of copped it from, you know, at least those two lyrics, but
wow.
it influenced him in that song.
Every breath you take, and every move you make, every breath I take, every move I make.
If you want creepy disguised as a harmless pop song, that's it.
Every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching you.
My number one is One by Metallica.
There you go.
I can't remember anything. Can't tell if this is true or dream.
It was off their And Justice for All album, which came out in 1988. It was their first album with Jason Newsted. Had a different sound. I never really liked the sound of the album. I liked this song. It was the first music video. Even though Metallica said they were never ever going to do a music video,
Is that the album where they
they
dialed back
they,
Jason's
yeah,
bass?
they just never even turned the bass up, it sounds like.
Now that the war is through with me, I'm waking up, I cannot see.
So I'm going to read what the song's about. I'm going to have to read this. So the song portrays a soldier who is severely wounded, arms, legs, and jaw blown off by a landmine, blind and unable to speak or move, begging God to take his life. In the music video, attempting to communicate with the hospital staff, he jolts in bed spelling "kill me" in Morse code.
What's he saying? He says, kill me. Over and over again. Kill me.
So the video actually intercuts with scenes taken from a movie called Johnny Got His Gun, which came out in 1971, which is about the same subject. So they took the idea from that movie and the sort of the concept from that movie and wrote a song about it. And if you watch that video, man, it's creepy.
You have some message for him, Padre? He's the product of your profession, not mine.
They actually performed that song at the 31st Annual Grammy Awards in 1989.
That's taking my sight, taking my speech, taking my head, taking my arm, taking my legs, taking my soul, living with life in it.
And then in 1990 won the Grammy for Best
heavy
Heavy Metal
yeah.
Song, which was the first year they had, they had that.
No, it must have been the second year because
Jethro Tull was the
Jethro
first year.
Tull won the first one.
And the winner is Crest of a Knave, Jethro Tull. And they're not here, so we'll accept this.
And they were up against Metallica too, I think.
yeah, sure.
Because everybody was shocked because Jethro Tull beat Metallica. And I don't even know what song Jethro Tull or what album Jethro Tull had at the time. I think they just didn't like Metallica.
Well, I mean, the Grammys are
Bullshit anyway.
Well, they're bullshit, and they're not the arbiter of, taste or hipness. But
Especially these days.
but back in that day, this is a Jethro Tull album that came out well after their best album.
Yeah,
heydays,
yeah, exactly.
But they were still cranking them out, and they probably still are. But yeah, that was a scandal.
It was a scandal.
Because I wouldn't even ever put Jethro Tull in the heavy metal category.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I put him in prog or hard rock
Yeah.
or rock
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't.
I
put
remember
him
at
in
the
heavy
time
metal.
it was a shock. I watched it live on TV.
Yeah, I
It was-
remember too.
Everybody was like sort of amazed. Anyway, hey, that's our top 3 creepy songs. Leave your picks below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the link below. We've got some merch down there. You can get some beer steins, some t-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And also, share our videos with your friends. Share them on your Facebook page. Tell your mom, your dad, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers. Tell everybody about us. We're trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark.
All right.
And we'll see you next time in the shed.
All right. See ya.